In this video, I want to show how we can upload a submission for one of our examinations. But before we look at that, I just want to point out that if we go into the planning, we can see that we have an examination coming up next week. And we could click here to go to it, but I'm going to wait a little bit with that because I also want to go into lecture 1 first. So we can see that the course is divided into 3 parts, and each of these parts has one of these tasks here. So we have 3 programming tasks that we have to hand in, and they are after each part of the course. And we can see here that for each of the tasks, we have 3 problems listed. And we must solve at least one of these problems successfully, and one of these problems successfully, and one of these problems successfully to pass examination 1. So we must solve at least one problem from each task. But we are allowed to solve more problems, so we can solve all of them if we like, and for each one that we solve successfully, we are awarded points, and those points are combined and then they decide what grade we get. But all right, I'm gonna try to upload the first one here. So if we go back to our modules page, we can see that, all right, the idea is that we first work our way through all of these chapters or these lectures, and then we have these 3 problems for the first task here. And I can also go in and show the same ones that we have here. We can reach them if we go to assignments. And if I switch to the student view, it might be that if you use this page, that it looks something like this instead. And personally, I prefer to show by type, because then it's easier to see which problems is connected to which task. So if it looks like this, just switch it up here to show by type instead. So you can choose either this one here, or if we go back to the modules page, it's the same ones that we have here. This one is the one that I'm planning to work with here. So all right, now this is the task, this is the problem that we're gonna solve. And we are giving the instructions here, and I do recommend you to start with the problem solving technique so that you can devise a plan before you start. But after that, you have the report and a script that you must upload. And it tells us here that we must be very thorough when we create our script, because the output must match exactly, character by character. So if we are given some examples of how the output should look, then we must match that exactly. So for example, in this case here, there should be 1 space before the colon and 1 space after. And the sums here, they should be aligned so the hundreds are over hundreds, for example. So the tasks are designed to be very picky when it comes to the formatting. And this is one of the reasons why it's so picky, that I want you to show me that you can do it. But there is another one. The other reason is that we as programmers must learn to follow the instructions to the letter that it's given. So we must not be sloppy. If there is an example of how it should look, then we should make it look like that too. So we must be thorough. But all right, that was a long introduction. Now let's look at how we actually upload something to CodeGrade and what happens when we do that. So all right, let's click down here and try to upload. So I have created a solution that I want to try to upload. So I create a new submission. And it tells me here which files I need to upload, so my script and my report. And I have those here. And then I click submit. Now the automatic tests will start to run. Sometimes it takes a little while before they're finished running, but we can see after a while it will show us the result here. And it looks like I made a mistake here. So the goal here is that we must have all green check marks. So none of them must be red. When all of them are green, then I will check it manually too. But for the first run, your goal is to get all green check marks. All right, so we see here that we have one red. So if we click on that one, let's have a closer look. Up here, we can see the input that is given to the script when it's running. So we can look at the output here and what its expected output is. But this is the input that is given. So we can see it starts by giving the input 3. All right, so we're going to buy a VIP ticket. Then we choose 1, which is to add a bag. And 2 is to add a meal. And then 5 is to finalize the ticket. So that is what we're trying to do here. We can also see it in the text here. Often the test name will tell us what we're trying to do, but here is the exact input given to the script. Here we can see what is expected to be printed by the script that we have uploaded. But please note that this is expected in the output. So our output will contain more text, but this must be somewhere in our output. And we see that what we are looking for is the receipt. So that should be somewhere here. It's in the end of what our script actually outputs. This is what we're looking for. This is what our script outputs. So we see here in the end. So there's something wrong here. Usually the best approach is to just read what it says here, and we can even see the spaces, they're marked by the dots here. So this is what we're looking for. So a ticket, a bag and a meal and a total. And if we check down here, we are missing the meal. So somehow I messed up when I wrote my script. All right, so now I know what the problem is, but I also want to point out that the CodeGrade also tries to show us the difference. And sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it can just be a little bit confusing, but it's worth checking out because it can tell us what is missing, if there's too much information, and some information is just ignored. And if we check down here, we can see that, all right, we are missing the meal, and the price is also wrong because we didn't include the meal. All right, so I made a mistake here when I uploaded, and this is to be expected. The first time we try to submit our solution, more often than not, it will not be correct right away. Like in this case, I made a logical error, but sometimes it might also be that we got the formatting wrong. And the good thing is that we can upload as many times as we like until we get all green check marks. So if one of the tests fails, just try to figure out what the problem is and upload again. And that is what I'm going to try to do now. So I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to be working on my code for a little bit, and then I'm going to try to submit it again. So now I have been working on it for a bit, and maybe I close this here and I go back to the task because I want to show if the button to upload is not here, it just says here reload the page. and then we will get it back. So if I reload this, we get it back again. So all right, let's start it again, and I create a new solution or a new submission, and I want to upload my files. So here I have my files, and let's upload them. Let's see if I manage to fix the problem. Yes, it looks like this time we managed to fix the problem. So don't be afraid to upload many times until you have all green check marks. And if you have multiple tests failing, focus on one test at a time, and when you manage to get the green check mark, just go on to the next one and make sure that that one too passes. Now that we have all these green check marks, we can see that alright, functionality is now filled out too. So alright, it says that all the tests passed. Now it's my time as a teacher to go in and check it manually and also to check your report. And after I have checked the report, I will fill out this category manually, because that's not something that we can do automatically. I have to read your report and then update this as either approved or not approved. So after the deadline, I will go in and do that, and then you will see this one filled out too. But that was all for now. Good luck.